It is no surprise that fraud has increased due to the resurgence of the pandemic. With less cash in circulation, criminals find it harder to steal physical assets and now have to rely on digital attacks. Businesses have amassed a record number of profits as more Americans are forced to shop from their couches. This increase in use in digital communications has presented a new opportunity for criminals. In this video, I'm going to explain the different types of fraud that can attack your business, different techniques that hackers can use to obtain information, and what you can do to potentially protect yourself from these types of attacks. Welcome back to my channel, Mystery of Money. If this is your first time here, my name is Nick, and on this channel I tackle all sorts of topics that surround money. According to the FBI, they saw a huge spike in internet scams during 2020, with an estimated loss of over $4 billion. In 2020, there were over 791,000 complaints that were reported to the FBI, and the Justice Department is anticipating for 2021 that the complaints will be over 1 million. As reported by CBS this morning, a business in Maine potentially lost over $250,000. The accountant who works for the company had started to prepare payroll. She had just received a new computer and did not have all of the links to the bank's websites that they utilized. She did a quick Google search of KeyBank, which is the bank that they use for their business, and searched KeyBank login. What came up was a spoofed website that basically looks like an identical website that she would normally use. Once she entered her information, she was immediately called by a number, and her caller ID said KeyBank. When she answered it, the person on the phone told her that the internet bank was currently down, but she should have the ability to utilize the site within the next day. The next day, she received a phone call from her actual bank stating that her accounts were overdrawn. She logged into her computer from home with the correct website and saw that there were many ACHs or electronic payments that came out of her account. They were for various amounts, but the total lost was $250,000. She immediately informed her boss that it had happened and the business lost all of the money. What happened was the hackers had set up a separate website that looked identical to KeyBank's website. When she entered her login information, they basically sent the information to the hackers, who then logged into the real website and transferred the money out. This is still in current litigation and will probably go back and forth between KeyBank and the business owner. The business owner believes that the bank should have protected them from this, and the bank is stating that they do have agreements in place that the owner signed to allow for the electronic transfers to happen. At the end of the day, the accountant lost her job because she lost the company $250,000. Depending on the timeline of when the money was sent, they may be able to recover some of the money. Typically in business, you have a window of about 24 hours from when the fraud happens to potentially cover your losses. When your business sends a wire, there's almost a non-existent chance of getting that money back unless you catch it immediately and report it to the bank. The bank may be able to retract those wires back from where they were sent. This is one of those stories that's heartbreaking to hear. Luckily, the business owner had enough assets to keep the business running and still pay his employees. If this was a smaller business that didn't have those revenues and customer base, it probably would have put a lot of people out of their jobs. If you're getting any value so far, if you could do me a favor and click that like button, I would appreciate it, as it helps out the channel a ton. Let's talk about the different types of fraud that are out there and the different schemes that they can utilize to try and get between you and your money. The number one scheme that comes to mind is wire fraud. If you send a wire, normally the bank requires you to verify how you got the instructions. This fraud is pretty simple. Someone will get between the email chain of the person sending you the information and you receiving it. They will change the routing number and account number and possibly the receiving bank's information. Once they forward it back to you, if you don't verify that information, your wire disappears. There's been horror stories in the news where couples have bought their dream home in a different state, received the wiring instructions, sent their payment of their nest egg to buy their new dream home, and it's gone. As I've said before, once the wire leaves the bank, it's almost impossible to recover. Another activity is corporate impersonation. This is where you're going to have multiple people that work for your company. A hacker will get in between an email conversation between you as the CEO and one of your subordinates and request a wire, check, an ACH, or some other form of payment that needs to be processed today. There is no possible way that you can speak to them, and the hacker will reiterate as you that there is no possible way that you can speak to them to verify anything, but it needs to be done. Mysteriously, all the meetings that you are going in as the CEO will keep you out of any communications with that person. They will use your position and title, and they'll use intimidation to your employee to make them do what they want. Your employee is more worried about getting fired by not doing something that you asked than to ask the question and potentially save the company money. The best way to counteract the corporate impersonation is to make sure that your staff knows exactly how the procedures go to send money out. whether it be you need verbal confirmation from you before any money leaves the company, or if you have a second in command that can make sure that those transactions are all legitimate. Most of the time, all of these crimes are not very sophisticated. They simply use social engineering to define weak points within a company, and then they exploit them. It would be way too hard for a hacker to hack into the servers of the company to steal information when they can just send a simple email to all employees and hope that one person clicks on a link. Once they have access to that, they have access to your whole system and can do the damage from there. At the end of the day, it's your money. You need to make sure that it's safe. Almost every bank has some sort of fraud protection that they can offer you. It could be as simple as a debit block, which will make sure that no one can come in and electronically take things from your account without you knowing it. You can set up certain parameters, such as utility bills, insurance, payments, things like that, for known vendors that you have to pull money. Other than that, no one else will be able to get to your cash. I know what you're thinking. I'll just never go online and send checks. But it is just as easy for criminals to get your routing number and account number from that check and do the exact same thing. For my business, I log in every single day to see what transactions happen, how much goes in and out, so I know where all the money is. I have alerts set up on all of the company credit cards we have so that I get text message updates and notifications when charges are done, so in case any of my credit cards are stolen, it will be pretty easy to shut them off. The debit block is going to be your easiest one to stop any electronic payments from coming out of your account. There's other services that are way more sophisticated and the prices for these services increase. But I always tell clients, think of cash as your biggest asset for your business. Your biggest asset personally is your home, and you make sure you insure your home so that if it were lost, you would be made whole. Same thing goes for the cash in your business accounts. Most banks offer these services, you just have to make sure you're talking to the right person. Depending on the size of your business, you may also want to look into some sort of business insurance, such as business continuity insurance. If something would happen that would shut your business down, the insurance company would come in and help you to keep your business running. The insurance may not make you whole, but it may be able to come in and help you cover certain costs. I hope this video gave you a better understanding of what types of fraud is out there, and if there's any other topics that you'd like me to cover, make sure you comment below. I wish you the very best in your business, and hopefully none of this fraud ever hits your doorstep, but now hopefully you know what to look for and how to mitigate those frauds. Until next time, have a great day.